All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special Civcast episode where we will be diving in to the Survivor Australia versus the World cast. Uh, we pretty much got less than 24 hours until this season starts up. Uh, I'm pretty sure it's, according to Angie, it's like 18 and a half hours.
Yeah, 19-ish, a little less than.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got very limited time until this thing starts up, so wanted to get a very last minute cast evaluation in just so we can take a look at everything about each player with all the promos in. So, yeah, joining me for this podcast, we got Survivor runner up Angie, Survivor 2 winner, and Survivor 5 runner up Siren, and
Hello.
Survivor 14 Pots runner up EG. How are you guys doing today?
Hello. Very good. Very excited for the season to begin. Um, yeah, the hype is through the roof, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy that it's starting so soon. Been waiting for it all year.
Yep. So Survivor Australia versus the World is a very short season. It's going to be only 16 days and 14 people in it, but I'd say that the 10 episodes that we're getting are going to be pretty special episodes. The premiere has been hyped up by many Survivor alumni that got to see it. I believe Nick from Survivor AU 2016 and All Stars got to see it, and I'm pretty sure Ricard from Survivor 41 got to see it. So, a lot of hype from a lot of individual Survivor alumni that have been
Yeah,
a part
I
of
mean, I
this.
saw I saw Nick. Nick basically called it the best episode he's ever seen, which
Yeah,
I mean, it's something. It's something.
yeah. So,
I mean, like,
but, what's up, Siren? So I wanted to go down the list of players, of all 14 players that we got here. I'm gonna talk about each promos of each 14 players, say what we feel about them. So we're gonna start this off with Janine Alice from Survivor Australia Champions versus Contenders 2. She initially started uh, as the notorious godmother of Survivor Australia. She had a very fun rivalry with the one and only Dirty Harry on the season. Uh, so Janine said a lot of times that she was not going to come back and play Survivor Australia, but with the season like this going on, obviously hard to pass up. So Janine's talked a lot about her promos about how she's going to keep up her godmother tendencies, how she's gonna wheel and deal against other players and, you know, pick the best times to outmaneuver players and best times to, lay low. So I think Janine for me is going to be a very interesting player to see. She's obviously got a lot of social charm as we saw in her first season. She made it all the way to the top 6 before getting voted out 4-2, with Luke actually betraying her, which we'll talk about that guy later on. So, yeah, how do you guys think Janine will do this season?
I think with Janine, she's a very interesting one. I agree. I think like having like her negotiation skills, like she's a CEO of like a major like company. Like I'm a consumer of it in Australia myself. Yeah, and she's like a multi-millionaire, a big ass entrepreneur. And I think given that she was like a head honcho of like her alliance and she just like easily got to maneuver her way all the way to the top 6. I think like champion strong, all that. And but I think, like, given that people wanted to use her as shields, I think that would be a bit of her downfall. I think it might be if she's like wanting to like make all these like moves and like make like give all this social charm off. I can see it working in her favor, but like to an extent. Like I don't know how far she's gonna go. But we'll see how it all fares. I'm just wondering how she's gonna like lay low about it. I think is my main like thing I'm considering.
One thing I remember about Janine's promo is that she mentioned potentially wanting to get revenge on David, which before seeing that, I thought it was very easy for the Champions vs Contenders players to just link up, but maybe it's not going to be that simple.
Yeah.
With Janine, it's interesting as well because even though she had a very strong personality in her original game, she's one of the lower targets coming into the season. I don't think anybody's really going to be looking at Janine and saying she's the biggest name. We need to get her out immediately. So she
Yeah,
could
she's
make a
only
deep
been on
run.
one season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say if Janine gets targeted for anything, it's probably going to be for challengeability. I don't see Janine getting targeted off of name basis. There's
yeah,
at
yeah.
the like she's a one-time player and not even the biggest one-time player name on the board. Obviously, you have
No.
Kirby, who
Mm.
just come
No, it
off of
can
a
be
very
way bigger.
stellar fifth.
I mean, like for
Sorry.
me, as
Yeah,
someone
so
that
I feel like
hasn't seen, yeah, go AG.
as long as Janine makes it to the match, there's going to be bigger names on the board to take out, and she can go very, very far.
Yeah.
That's all she needs to worry about is get through those initial rounds, and she'll
I
be in a good
think
place.
I think if she makes it to merge, I think she can negotiate well with that Wild Tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. She seems like the type of pick, and like when I first saw the cast, she was like my immediate first boot without knowing anything because I was just like, one of these things does not fit like the other. When it comes to, I think when I saw her, I was like, if it was a way bigger cast, I would have her going way farther. But the fact is that there's a very realistic chance in my mind that she's the first one to go from the Australian tribe. Because they may just say, I don't want to go back to tribal for challenges. And you're clearly the weak link. And especially if she's saying she's going after David. I don't know that I think that's an immediate game over if she tries that at the start.
She's
I
not the
just
only weak link though, when it comes to
No.
challenges in Australia.
Yeah.
I
she
think there's
doesn't
a
look
more
Like
obvious
there's
one than Janine in the
yeah.
Australian tribe.
So I'd say like with Janine for me, it's like if Janine does make it to merge, I can see her doing really well. Uh Maybe even FTC, but I also think that if Australia does lose two or more immunity challenges, I can't see Janine making it that
Yeah.
far. Like, yes, she wants to go after David, but there's also other players on the board that are trying to do their own thing. I don't see her being the first boot of Australia. I think me, Angie, and EG all agree who the first boot of Australia will
Yeah.
probably be.
yeah,
Mm.
it's 100% obvious for me.
I mean,
But
this is
Agreed.
the outsiders over here. Like, I figured it out through conversations, what you guys are saying. But yeah, it's like, if she makes it to merge, honestly, and I kind of feel the same way about a player on the World's Tribe, it's like they have social capital, they seem like they would do well. It's just they have to make it to the merge is like the hurdle.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I know which player you're talking about as well on the World Tribe.
Yeah. It's like the same for both. It's just like Australia Survivor, from what I know, is very physically taxing, and I feel that with such a small tribe, you can avoid it for one vote, but after one vote, once you go to 2 tribals, it's just like, well, okay, we can't do this again. You got your free get out of jail free card.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. All right. Anything else we want to talk about for Janine before we move on to the next player? All right. So now we move on to our first World Tribe member of the season, which is Cassandra Cass Bastarosh. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. But yeah, Cassandra played Survivor Quebec Season 2 in 2024, which I'm just going to say, as someone who attempted to watch Cass's season, I didn't get all the way through. Survivor Quebec does Survivor very funny. Because the episode, you guys want to know what the episode count for Cass's season is?
Tell us.
67.
Yeah.
Oh, get out.
67.
That's like MasterChef Australia.
How do you watch that?
Now the thing is, with
Survivor
that,
Greece even worked, by the way. There's no player from Survivor Greece in the season, but because I used to watch them, I'm from Greece, by the way. The episode count for our seasons is like season 7, for example, was 118 episodes.
and weren't they
And it
usually
goes on
like
like
an hour long or
3 or 4
something?
months. Sorry?
Yeah. Weren't the episodes usually like an hour long or something?
3 hours long
What?
No
and
way.
118 episodes.
I was watching
What?
the MCU over there.
He's like watching the live feeds.
This is the life
And it's not
of
even
Big
good.
Brother.
And it's
Yeah.
not even good. The content is horrible, by the way. Like, out of the 3 hours, 2 of them are just the challenge.
They just recorded the challenge in full.
Yeah.
No, the challenge is
I
like
just imagine-
you have the you have the immunity challenges in like Survivor US or Survivor Australia. You know, like the reward challenges in Survivor Australia, where the first tribe to 5 wins reward.
Yeah.
It's like first to 10, 15, 20 sometimes.
Bro.
And it just goes on for like 2
No.
hours.
Oh yeah,
L.
and tell them how players used to get eliminated.
Fan vote.
Oh.
It's Big Brother season 1. I just imagined like 2 hours of an episode is just like 5 people holding on to like one of the old school the challenges that were stamina.
All right. So for Cass's game. So for Cass's game, Cass had a pretty strong pre-merge from what I've gathered from her game. Pretty much was in on every single vote she got in, and then when it came to merge, it seemed she had a bit of a slip up. Was on the outs for the first merge vote. Managed to get back in after the first merge vote. But it seems that she just never really went after the powerhouse player, which that season was a guy called Ghislaine, and she lost FTC 8-0. So I'd say the player that is most comparable to Cass is Amanda from Survivor China and Ghislaine to Todd. So obviously, Cass, from what I've seen, she does have some very solid competition ability. She's won 2 individual immunity challenges, made it all the way to the final to merge, only going to tribal pre-merge twice out of I believe 10 times, 10 or 9 times. So she's a very solid competition player. So how do we feel about Cass?
I hope she has
Mm.
more personality than Amanda, first of all.
Yeah,
I think by the promo, you can tell that she's a little bit more like a human,
Yeah.
which is a good start. Gameplay-wise, I don't know. I don't think she's going to be in too much trouble at the start. Maybe if she has good competition abilities, something like early mid-merge could be realistic.
I mean, Cass, like in my opinion, and this is what I'm gonna say for all of the people that are the international players. As much as American, I would love to see the Americans do well. You should definitely jump the hell out of them on that tribe. You should definitely lock hands and
Yeah.
at least get rid of one of them because, especially like for Cass, because like I feel like the smaller players, when it comes to seasons like this, like if you're a runner-up that loses with like 0 votes, you kind of have to be more vocal. Because if you're not, people will just be like, "Oh, we can't let you get a free spot into FTC," and just chucks you out the window.
I think
Yeah.
with her being like a big losing finalist, I don't know if she might find her footing as well in the World Tribe, just because like the World Tribe has like 4 freaking winners.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I don't hear about Cass as much. She could be like an underdog player. She could surprise me. But right now, I don't have her high in my rankings. I have her pretty low. And just
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem with her is like her trying to find her footing, but she seems to be like from a fairly recent game. But so we'll see.
EG, what are
I
your
do hope
thoughts
with
on
It just
Cass
feels like
that, yeah, go.
I just fear, like when I see a losing finalist with 0 votes go on a season like this, I just, and this is what happens a lot, is they kind of just don't fix their mistakes too much and end up just like not being a main character. That's kind of how I feel
Yeah.
about.
I'm like, what
It's
if her
like I don't think
early merge game from her season is gonna be like what a game's gonna like be like in a nutshell
yeah,
in
like
this season.
I feel like the world's tribe, and I don't know why they did this. I don't know. I feel like the world's tribe is comparably more stacked than the Australian tribe just from looking in placement wise. I don't know why they did that. I feel like that's a little insane, but that just makes it even harder for players like Cass because like the 4 winners are gonna team up. Let's be real, it's gonna happen probably. They're probably all
Yeah.
gonna hold hands because why wouldn't you? It makes life
Yeah.
easy.
EG, what do you got on Cass?
I was going to say earlier that I hope the opposite happens to what Siren said. The fact that she's a 0 vote finalist might give her this, to have something to prove. And she goes and plays a really bold game here. So I'm excited to see her.
Yeah.
I don't think it's inevitable that the winners team up. There's multiple possible team ups on the World Tribe that can benefit Cass more. Like, for example, if the international players team up on the Americans, that would put Cass in the majority initially.
I will say this. I don't think Cass would be the first boot from the tribe. I
No,
have my eyes on the first boot. It's not Cass. Uh, I think
Let me
I
see your
well, no,
predictions again.
yeah,
I have a
I
couple
don't
first
think.
boots in mind, and none of them are Cass.
Yeah, I don't think Cass is a first boot because like Cass seems physical enough to be allowed to survive at least one vote. Maybe the second vote, but honestly, I don't think so. So I think Cass would make the merge. Cass just needs to take the next step and be more aggressive. When you're
Yeah.
losing finalists, that shows you need to do more, in my opinion. Especially by 0 votes.
Fair enough. All right. My opinion on Cass this season. Obviously, haven't watched her season, so can't go too much there. The promos haven't given a ton off of Cass either, so it's a bit of a wild card. She was the last one to get a preseason confessional, I believe. But honestly, I can see her doing pretty well. I think she's either going to be a very late merge boot, or she's going to be like, I don't think anyone's going to get purpled this season. If someone gets purpled this season, God help the editors. But I think if she doesn't, EG's already,
It's Australian Survivor. It's Australian Survivor.
We're already afraid after the
A couple people will get purpled.
One, two.
I don't. Okay, this is the thing. I don't think anyone's going to get purpled this time. I'm saying this time. If they do it again, probably because they want to be like, "Hey, this season's good. Let's get more international people here." That's what this season is. It's definitely like a sales pitch as much as it is hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like you have Tony, you have Parvati, you have all these people. Are you gonna give Sarah a confessional?
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked, and I'm saying this, if like Lisa and Tommy, if they don't make it to merge, just get purpled in the world's tribe.
That'd be something.
I mean, they're not winners. They're not an American player.
Lisa is a winner.
Lisa's a winner. Lisa won.
Yeah,
Lisa
but
won. Oh,
not
Lisa's the
many people
winner.
watch New Zealand.
Yeah.
I do think there's a high chance that, depending on how the trajectory of the game goes, that one of the international players doesn't get a lot of screen time.
Yeah, I'd say if anyone gets purpled, it's probably going to be one of the internationals. That's not Rob. Rob's not getting purpled with the promos they're giving him. No
No.
shot.
No way.
Honestly,
And-
I won't be shocked if Rob is the winner. It's like, holy shit, you want us to know about Rob? Did he win?
Yeah. So, anyone else wants to bring out about Cass for this season?
No, we have better players to talk about.
Yeah, let's get.
All right. And speaking of which, keep things
Let's
relevant.
purple cast on the podcast.
To keep things relevant, we mentioned Rob. I believe it's time to talk about Rob. So I've watched Rob's season, so I can talk the most about him. So Rob Bentaleb played Survivor South Africa, Island of Secrets in 2019. Played an incredibly strong game, 5 immunities. He had pretty much total control from beginning of to end of the season. He's pretty much highly regarded as at least a top 5 winner when you rank the entire winner base of every single version of Survivor. Like, this is... If Survivor South Africa was still a thing and it still got its recognition, Rob would be the promo world player, which I think is what they're bringing out for Rob. I think this is a very justifiable promotion for Rob Bentaleb. So yeah, some of his big moves of Survivor South Africa consisted of him blindsiding his number one ally at the final 5, blindsiding another close ally at the final 10. He's just very good at taking other people's advantages and making them his own. He took someone's idol, which saved him at final 5. And then I believe he had someone else's extra vote at the time too. So very, very strong game from Rob. And I think for me, my prediction is that Rob is going to be the big man for the whole season. I think Rob is probably going to be like, I want to say final boss, but he's going to be like the big guy that makes it like halfway point of the season, and then everyone's like, "Oh shit, we gotta snipe this guy." So
Yeah, like, because I actually did see part of his season because like I was like, why is he getting so many pro votes? Why is he being so hyped? But I don't. He's making merge. We're all in agreement, right? It would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
insane if he did.
I'd be
And I mean,
shocked.
I think he's the best setup player on the World Tribe because he's
yeah,
insanely
he,
physical. If the world people team up, he's in the majority. If the winners team up, he's in the majority. So I can't see how Rob doesn't make merge.
Yeah.
this is my prediction. He's either gonna win the game or he's going to be a late boot. And I don't think it's going to be because they don't try to get rid of him. I think it's going to be because he's going to start winning immunities when they try to get rid of him, and it just spirals out of control.
I think Rob is gonna be like the villain, the puppet master. I actually think he's gonna be final boss. That's what I predicted him as. I think people might use him as a shield if they did know about his Paprika game. I don't know if people would know about his Paprika game, but I think he's gonna be like in control and do some like damage within the season a fair bit.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna have a lot of like majorities and a lot of people like behind him. So I think that's where I'm at.
That's the other
One more.
issue.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, PJ. We have. I'm considering them the 4 wild cards, the people that aren't Australian or America players. I feel like, and this is what happened with Russell and HVV. I don't know if this is going to happen this time, where they kind of just make it far because people don't understand what to think about them. They don't know their game. You know what I mean? So they may not perceive them as
Yeah.
dangerous when they should. And I think Rob is definitely going to take advantage of that if people don't know. Like,
Yeah,
did they
if people have researched South Africa, Bob's in a lot of trouble. But I don't think there's too many people here who know about him.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
shocked if they got to know the cast when they were doing like the whole pregame stuff and got to do a
Yeah,
little
maybe like
research.
JLP mentions that Rob is a winner at the start on the mat or something, and get
Yeah,
clued in a little.
Yeah.
like I think that would be fair if like everyone got a little bit of research on their competition, just so
Yeah.
because those 4, I think that's like the main intrigue of this season. That was like, you guys know the Australian players, I know the American players. Those 4, you don't know what to expect, and I think that's the best part of this season. If they do this again, and I know it's a little ridiculous to say, I think next time it needs to be Australia versus America versus international, and like 3 tribes in a bigger season. Honestly,
I would not really like that purely because if they do 3 tribes and the season is good, they will just start doing 3 tribes and it's gonna become like US Survivor, and I do not
They
want to
haven't
stray
done
from the 2 tribes.
Yeah, they
I
they
haven't
haven't done
done.
3 tribes since
yeah.
2016, and that was the first
Yeah,
season.
but if they see that it works, they might switch it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
like I
wouldn't.
would
I wouldn't
switch it,
mind
but like
seeing it.
see that
I
because
don't want to take that risk.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
fair. Uh, have you talked a little bit about how you feel about Rob, EG?
Yeah, I said that I think he's in the best spot out of everybody on the World Tribe to make the merge. I don't think there's anybody this season that can go on an immunity run. Like a lot of really good physical people this season. You have David, you have Kirby, people that can win a bunch of challenges. Luke had gone on an immunity run before, so I don't think, like, if people clock into Rob by early merge, I don't think he's gonna make too far. But if he can hide behind people or be used as a shield, then he can go on a deep run for sure. But he's 100% making merge.
Yeah. I'd say so. Also about a promo, we got for Rob Bentley's promos. Rob has spoken time and time again about how he just wants to absolutely wipe the floor with the Australian tribe. How he wants to bring balance to the Survivor world just by crushing David and George. And I just
I don't think he's gonna get an opportunity to crush George.
no.
No.
I think George will be crushed well before he meets Rob.
Yeah, but yeah, Rob is someone. I'd say Rob's probably, with the promos we've been given, Rob's probably the player I'm most excited to see play out of the World Tribe, at least. Australia's got a few
definitely.
ahead over him, but Rob's
Mm.
definitely my favorite world to see.
Yeah, for sure. Because the Americans, we've seen them so many times now. And recently too, like we saw Tony on Traders last year. We've seen Parvati pretty much everywhere. We've seen Suri everywhere. Suri's gonna play 50. So I'm excited to see the internationals most.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Suri
I
playing 50, by
understand
the way.
why they
I did want
brought.
to.
What's up, EG?
I guess we'll talk about this when we get to Suri, but like there's so many outside clues to Suri not doing all that well that it's
is.
kind of like Suri playing 50. Suri would not be playing 50 if she won this season, right?
Probably not. I don't think.
Suri
I
is one of two people who did not get a confessional in the intro.
That's something I do want to talk about when we get to Suri. Like,
Yeah,
it's very, that's
there's
a
a
very
lot of
damning
clues.
thing.
There's a lot of clues.
I mean, this is my thing, right? As well, Suri. When we get to Suri, but I'll just say it real quickly. Suri is the odd woman out on that tribe. The Australian tribe, you know, you have the winner, you have some runner-ups, and you have some people that aren't runner-ups. On the World's tribe, you have 4 winners, 2 runner-ups, and Suri.
Yeah. I was gonna say with Suri, I think like with Suri, she's been on like a lot of things. Like, didn't she win Big Brother? She's been on the Traders. I'm pretty sure a lot of like more well-versed like reality TV show fans or
I,
like
I think
players would like know about that.
I think she was supposed to be on The Amazing Race, but they axed her off last minute. I don't.
Suri would not be good in the Amazing Race. I'm sorry. I think that's
No,
a good
she'd get
call.
cooked.
She's gonna
She'd
show
get cooked for sure.
us anyway out of nowhere just to mess with people.
All right. I think it's fair to move off of Rob now. So now,
Yeah.
now let's go on to our next player and my personal winner pick, which is Kirby Bentley, the Rebel Queen from Survivor Australia Titans versus Rebels, aka the best season of all Survivor. Go watch it. Kirby played an incredibly dominant game in Survivor Titans versus Rebels. She pretty much took full control of the Rebels tribe, with her long-standing rival Ferris becoming a very unlikely duo with her at the merge. She orchestrated pretty much blindside after blindside. Blindsided PETA,
Really?
blindsided Garrick, blindsided so many other people. Kirby just played a very crazy game, and for a player that did not know a single thing about Survivor at the time, Kirby had the least knowledge. I'd say going into their original seasons between all the Australians, Kirby had the least knowledge of Australia, of Survivor by far.
Yeah.
So now Kirby comes
And
in.
it was refreshing. It was refreshing because we saw her innovate. We saw new strategies. We saw her learn the game on the fly. It was really fun to watch Kirby play in that original season.
Oh yeah, for sure. So now we're going to see Kirby play in Australia. And obviously, there's a couple question marks on her game about, since she's obviously the newest player of the Aussies, how will she do to integrate herself in? Because you got a ton of players who already know each other. David knows Luke, Luke knows Janine, Janine knows David. Shawnee and George know each other. Shawnee's played with David at some point. Sarah and Luke
I
have
will
played
say,
together.
I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think Luke and Kirby worked together at the same company a while ago, and they did a podcast together. So
Yeah.
I think Kirby does have some pre-game connections coming into the season as well.
Yeah. So, and Kirby mentioned a lot in her pregame promos about potentially becoming the God Slayer. So, she's hinting at a bit of a David targetation. So that's something I'm excited to see. How do you guys feel about Kirby?
Goodbye, David. Goodbye, Janine. Yeah, I think with Kirby being very recent, like, look, Titans versus Rebels aired last year, like early last year, and then AVW was actually just like filming mid last year, right? I think it's like very fresh. Unless you've like watched the season, you'd probably know about her gameplay, but I think she's gonna make it like really far because she is pretty fresh. I think she's gonna orchestrate a lot of blindsides. I just hope she doesn't make like the same like obvious mistake where she gets like clocked for like doing all these blindsides and then has to go on an immunity run just to like save herself. I think that's where I'm at.
What you got, EG?
I'd say first of all, Kirby's the player I'm rooting for. Like, I don't know if she's my win pick, like with you, but I'd love to see it happen. I think a Kirby win would be fantastic for the season. I think she's in a pretty decent spot early on. I could see her working with Janine because they've both mentioned wanting to target David. Maybe George joins that. Maybe that's George's only chance at surviving early on is targeting David with Kirby and Janine. But she's not going to be in any trouble. She's going to go far, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe with a couple of immunities at the end to make FTC, but she's got it in her.
Yeah.
Okay,
Aaron,
I'm
what are
just
your
gonna
thoughts?
go and just change my mid predictions as we talk about these players because Kirby sounds like a player I actually would think wins on a season like this because in a season as big as this, sometimes not playing like the rest is the way to win. And if because like from what you guys are saying, she didn't know anything about Survivor, but she already did one, which means if she uses the knowledge that she's learned, but still tries to like innovate and not play cookie cutter, because I feel some of those players on the season may do that, but just like more aggressively. Because I mean, like it's the big stage, and you don't want to mess up. So yeah, I think Kirby would definitely make it far. I feel like anyone that is physical will make it to the merge no matter what. That's just how I feel about it. Like, as much as I know players like David may get targeted, I don't see a pre-merge elimination unless it's like an idol. Idols could really burn this season to the ground. But we'll have to wait and see.
They will look to hide as many idols as possible. I think production really wants this season to be as big, as bombastic as possible. They will want idol plays every single tribal if they can get it.
Yeah.
I'm up for the idol shenanigans. I'm up for it as long as it doesn't get as bad as Game Changers. But I understand that needs to go a little crazy. As long as if Suri got Suri'd on this season, I would
Imagine Suri getting Suri the second time. Yeah.
That would
Just
be funny as
and
shit.
then gets to read again on 50.
Just imagine they're just like at the start of the game. We've hit 6 idols on each tribe, and then the world tribe loses first, and all 6 idols were found. The no, it's like, yeah, like Kirby originally, just from like not knowing these people, I was like, Kirby will get 8 because like I was like, maybe Kirby is an early merge boot because I was like, Kirby is newer and maybe like not having connections is a fall because when we get to some of the players, I'll talk about this. I feel like there's a connection from the Worlds to Australia tribe that has to be watched, and if it is not maintained, everyone is screwed.
Yeah.
If it's the connection that I think you're talking about, most people may not know about it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they know about it.
Because
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the filming happened before the airing of that
Yeah,
duo.
yeah.
For
Nobody knows about
filming
the connection,
for
and nobody knows about how a certain someone is very, very, very rich.
Yep.
filming
Okay.
for insert
Speaking, they
show here was done this time last year, and then this one was done like September, right? So they wouldn't know.
so basically, what you're telling me is that the producers better have put a cap on the money they can make this time. He's rich. Stop giving him money. Now you're giving him a hosting job. Is he gonna become a billionaire from reality
I
TV
think,
shows?
I think he might be paying production to host,
Yeah,
and that's
he
how they
paid them to get
that's how they cut
JLP
the budget.
funding.
JLP asked
listen.
for like millions, and David said, "I'll do it for free." I won. How much did he win? Like 6 million?
Yeah, he
That's
was.
funny.
I point something.
No,
I'll do it for free.
yeah. I mean, look, I feel like I feel like any of the physical players will probably make it to the merge, just because you don't want your game ending. I feel like a weak player can survive the first vote, but after the first
Yeah.
vote,
And especially on the Australian tribe, because I think this season is different because patriotism might come into it as well. The Australians might say, oh, we want to have the numbers, we want Australia to win the season. So
like,
they might look to eliminate the non-physical players early.
I mean, like that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like this may just happen. Like the merge, this would be a cool merge, by the way. I'm totally for this. If it's the internationals versus Australia, I'm up for it. That's cool, as long as it doesn't go on for too long. You know what I mean? Like you can't massacre it. I don't want this to be a pagonging per se, but
No,
like
no.
an
Yeah.
interesting battle between two tribes is cool with me.
And
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a pagonging though. Because imagine they hype the season up so much. Everybody's saying it's the best season of all time. It's not a pagonging. Some
Yeah.
shit has to happen.
You know,
Mm.
yeah, but Kirby could win this season. I think a physical player will win this season. I'm gonna stand on that. I do not think a weak player can win this season if you're not strong physical, because that's just how I feel about it. I feel like the winner is going to be someone that wins the final immunity.
I could see that, yeah.
I can see, like, yeah, a lot of Australian Survivor winners are final immunity winners. So that I can see, even if like they're not like as strong in the other challenges, like if they just win final immunity or like just like one or two other challenges, not like really oust themselves as like a big ass physical threat, I think they have the game potentially in the bag.
Yeah, if we go
Yeah.
through history as well, I think most Australian winners have won final immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
I think the
only one who didn't,
Shane.
Shane.
And then
But
Shane
Sean
and
should have won anyway.
Miles didn't win.
Miles
Yeah.
didn't win.
Mark didn't win.
Mark. Oh yeah, Mark didn't win.
And who won? No, Pia didn't win either.
Yeah, no, Baden won that.
Yeah, and then Shay won Blood versus Water.
All right, anything we want to throw in for Kirby before we get on to the promo Australian Survivor player?
Let's do it.
All right, so
Is there
we
a
go
the
on.
promotional Survivor player? I feel like there's
What?
3 candidates for that.
There's 3 candidates, but
It's like a big one.
yeah. So our next pick is going to be Shawnee Botel from
Yeah,
Survivor
yeah.
Australia Champions versus Contenders, Survivor Australia All Stars, and Survivor Australia Heroes versus Villains. The only player in all of
The
Australian
intro was
Survivor,
so epic for Shawnee.
the only player in all of Australian Survivor to play 4 times. And I'm pretty sure out of everyone here, she's played the most or close to the most days. I think maybe Parvati has a bit more on her because of the Edge. But if you don't count the Edge of Extinction, then I think Shawnee has it over Parvati. But so yeah, Shawnee is the big Australian Survivor player. If you're a US Survivor normie, you've heard of Shawnee's name. Shawnee's name has at least been thrown out to you. And Shawnee's played all 3 seasons pretty solidly. For her first season, she played pretty good. I'd argue that she had the win locked in for her all of Merge up until the point where she lost her number 1 ally at Final 6, and then her game was kind of cooked at that point. And then second season, she had a bit of a more rough go of it, but she still played pretty well. Got a few people to flip on her after what was pretty much a swap pagonging. But she still did decent, got all the way to 7th place. And then Heroes versus Villains, which I think is going to be the most important season to talk about for her, for obvious promos that she's given us. Shawnee played Heroes versus Villains, got 9th place, and got blindsided by her number 2 ally, George. So, Shawnee is a player that I think is, if someone asked me who I think is going to run Aussie pre-merge, it's going to be Shawnee. I do not see anyone else running Australian tribes pre-merge. If there is someone, it's going to be Shawnee. Because Shawnee's just so well connected. She has all these good plans to go through. I think Shawnee's someone to look out for this season. She's obviously talked about getting revenge on George, so that's going to be a talking point. But yeah, how do you guys think Shawnee's going to do?
Really well. I think we'll see her getting revenge, and it's gonna be like the big plot point of the first couple episodes. Is we'll see Shawnee get revenge on George. We'll see George leave the game. Shawnee's gonna lead that, and then I just look at these promos, and I think there's no way. Like, they can very much pick different people if Shawnee didn't do well. Shawnee being the number 1 promo person for the Australian tribe is not something I expected, and it leads me to think that she does really well and goes like possibly into the finale, but definitely really far.
I think, yeah, Shawnee's gonna go pretty far. I think with her social game being like her number 1 strength, she's gonna have that web of connections. I think the one thing I'd like to see differently from Shawnee is probably a lot more of a covert game, because she has like these very obvious allies in some of her seasons, and she's been like clocked from like the people that have gone against her or voted out like one of her allies or anything like that, because of this. So I just really want to see that like more
Yeah.
covertness from her this
And
season.
also, one thing I'd like to see from Shawnee, and I think we're not gonna get it based on the promos, is I think Shawnee's biggest weakness as a player is she gets tunnel vision very often. It's like, I'm working with my bestie and we're gonna go to the end. I'm looking to get revenge. It's emotional. It's not very flexible. And then straight away she comes into this season, and I feel like George would have the flexibility to work with Shawnee. Shawnee doesn't have the flexibility to work with George.
Yeah.
I'm changing predictions every
Oh
time
my
you people.
god. Jesus
What?
Christ.
Every time you
Oh yeah,
people
because you
talk,
have
I'm like,
Shawnee as freaking low.
look, okay, I don't know these people. I've never heard of Shawnee. You're making that comment, like, even if you're an American normie, like, I haven't heard. What? What do you mean they're this good? Oh, okay. I'm gonna make a new predictions after this talk, and that
Yeah.
will be.
He's like the Australian survivor icon
Look, I don't know these people.
after George.
After what I've heard, I'm gonna make a prediction. I think that Shawnee is going to get George out, make it to merge, and then be either like a first merge boot or a very late merge. I don't think there's any in between.
That's fair.
It's either they figure her out or the Australians kind of take power, and I definitely see her as being like the leader figure, because like I know it's not going to be David. David's like way too powerful for them to give that to David. I feel a player like her that's played so much and has all the connections, people will want her there, and I feel like what she needs to do is understand that she's wanted there, and I guess she's not going to do this because from the promo she wants to get rid of George badly. Just kind of like sit back and smile and like
Yeah, I think that's the best way to approach it. I think like play it all cool with George and then just like backstab him.
yeah, like, but also like George is definitely going first from that tribe anyways. Dude.
Yeah, no, George is cooked.
But-
Like, I do think Shawnee will be very vocal about going after George, but I mean, George has played two of the greatest Australian Survivor games out there, so I don't see George. I know Shawnee's going to be vocal about it, but I don't think if George goes out, I think people are going to want George out anyway.
I think Shawnee's going to be as vocal about it, but I don't think she's going to be as weak as the people who were vocal about it in George's past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like all it takes is one person that has some power to just be like, no, we don't want you here. And then that's what I wanted. And then they just chuck George out.
Yeah, and also it's different when you've seen him go far 2 times versus 1 time. Like, going into Heroes versus
Yeah.
Villains, we had seen George play this game where, yeah, he controlled everything, but in the end, he didn't win the jury vote. I don't think George had as high a target going into Heroes versus Villains as the show made it out post-season. Whereas Heroes versus Villains, we saw that he had winning equity as well. It wasn't just he wasn't a power goat. He was going to win the game. So people are a lot more wary of George than they were in Heroes versus
Yeah.
Villains.
Like,
And also they're less stupid. Like
it's weird to say that.
the Heroes versus Villains newbies were completely
Oh
idiots.
yeah,
open.
Oh, they were garbage.
they were so
Yeah,
bad.
like
I
Liz
think
was
that
the only
that's
good
the
newbie.
advantage that the alumni had in the villain tribe. That the newbies were very, very weak.
It's just like. Also, and this is just kind of how I feel about it. If we ever do a season like this again, I like the theme of Australia versus the world, but maybe next time mix the international players with the Australian players. Like maybe
Like what?
like you know, like equal it out. Like you put 3 if they do 7 and 7 or do like 8 and 8 next time and do 4 Australian and then 4 international and 4 Australian.
I think
Like-
the problem with because they initially wanted to do Australia versus America. That was like the big thing they wanted to do.
They
And
couldn't get
then,
people. 50.
They just couldn't get people and it's not even because people didn't want to do it. It was just so fucking long because they're not used to playing 47 seasons. Like, I'm pretty sure Kelly Wentworth was supposed to play Survivor Australia versus America, but she just looked at it and was like, I can't play 50 days, dude. I can't.
No, I think it was with Kelly. It was a money issue. I think
Yeah,
they just
that
gave
too.
Kelly less money than Tony and Parvati and everybody else, and she didn't
Yeah.
accept it.
I mean,
And then
like I'm saying you can have the short seasons, just like maybe mix up the players next time, because like at least for me, I feel the Australian draft, it isn't boring, but like you know who's going first and like they know each other a lot more compared to international. It's like 2 different games are going to be played in the pre-merge, if you get what I mean.
I can
It's
kind of
like-
see that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for Shawnee, what I want to see out of the Shawnee is EG mentioned it a bit. Shawnee does have a bit of tunnel vision when it comes to playing. I kind of want to see how Shawnee does, because Shawnee is pretty good at challenges. She doesn't seem strong in like the pre-merge challenges, but she's won quite a few immunities in the merge portion of her seasons. She won one in All Stars. I'm pretty sure she won one in her first season, CVC one. And so Shawnee is a pretty good player. I think if she does get, this is my prediction. I think if she does get voted out, she gets idled out. That is my F1 chess move guess. I think if Shawnee does get voted out, it's going to be by an idle out.
That would be a cool first merge episode elimination, honestly. I do see that. That's why the promos are here. It's like she makes it to merge, she's doing well, and then just bam, gets sniped out.
I can kind of see her getting out of that. I don't know about first merge boot though, because like I don't think she's been like really that close to being a first merge boot in any of her previous seasons. Yeah, I think
The
and
thing
like
with
merge is
Shawnee
like fairly early.
is continue.
Merge is just fairly early for like this season, like this smaller season, I'd say.
Yeah. The thing with Shawnee in challenges that you mentioned earlier is Shawnee is strong in individual immunities, but she's not perceived to be strong because she's got that like weaker figure and she's a little bit weaker in the pre-merge challenges. And this is a very physical cast. So I think a lot of people will put her in that Siri category of we can get rid of her whenever we want because she's not going to win an immunity. And they might be surprised at how strong she is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I could see people like Rob and Kirby going, "Oh no, Shawnee's never winning an immunity from us. We're challenge beasts." And then she goes and snipes one from under their noses.
Yeah, I think just her sniping, like I think one thing I really enjoyed from All Stars was like her taking out all the physical players. Like even though it's probably not for good for like good like tribe, I think like it like really shows like how good of a player like she really was and like what really mattered. I think if she did that again, that would be kind of cool to see.
Yeah. Anything else we want to bring up for Shawnee before we move on? All right.
I think we're good.
All right. So time for our next world player, which is Suri Fields from Survivor. From
I
Survivor.
think
What have we not
we've
brought
said
up?
the things
I
we want
think
to
we've
say.
said like, yeah.
You guys have already, you guys talked a
Must-
lot about Suri. I'm
Yeah,
going.
I'm
so-
Civ. I didn't player's name. I just heard first boot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I.
I give it a very good chance that she's the first boot from the World Tribe.
Yeah. So we already talked a bit about Suri. I'm just gonna throw in my opinion for Suri, and if anyone else wants to, they can. I think the problem with Suri this season, obviously, is the big thing challenges. Survivor AU is an incredibly tough game physically. Now, I don't think she's necessarily up to, get out first necessarily. I'm not gonna say that there's no chance she gets first boot because there's some potential there. Uh, but I do want to say that there are some like wild cards this season. Even disregarding the internationals, Tony Tony's pretty much a coin flip from being either very sneaky or very erratic, and like I don't think Tony's getting first boot either, but obviously I think there's going to be a lot of divide amongst the world tribe, especially how Tony played in his third game. So I don't necessarily think I see Suri getting first boot. I think if the world loses twice, I think I could see Suri going. But I think my big prediction is she's either going to get the final pre-merge boot or a very early merge boot is my prediction.
I think with Suri, I don't think I see her as first boot either. I think she has like the charm to work her way. She's like a very good like schemer. She's really good at like making strategies, making like really like fun vote counts. Um and like just like really implementing strategies and just like an overall like really good player. Like one of the greatest to never win. I think if Suri went out, I think she'd go out maybe like early mid merge. I also think she'd go out in like an obscure way, like maybe like HVV or game changers with like idols and all that, like coming into play. I think that's how she's gonna
Oh my
go
God.
out.
I do not want to see that again.
If they do that to Suri again, I'm just gonna look. The thing about Suri is, and some people may disagree with me on this, the only elimination of Suri that seems slightly fair is the one in HVV, and even that is just kind of depressing.
I mean, it's
her
a fair
Survivor-
elimination in the sense that Tom played the idol correctly.
Like, I still
Like
argue that
it's
Suri.
within the realms of normal gameplay, I guess.
I still argue that Suri should have won fans versus favorites. I will stand on that hill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should have been
Yeah.
a final three, and she would have won it.
Yeah. But, I mean, the thing with me for Suri is if all the international players band together, Suri is dead. And that will always be my statement. That's why I think Suri will be first boot. That's why I think Suri is a candidate for it. If the 4 international players want to get rid of an American player, you're never getting rid of Tony because he's good at comps, and Parvati is way better at comps than Suri. Suri's brand is I'm
I mean,
horrible at comps.
you could get rid of Tony because he's a two-time winner. If
Yeah.
they
That's
go the
the
All-Star,
point. That's the
Like
I don't think that's going to
Suri's
happen, but
biggest
it's
threat.
tangible.
like it's tangible, but like what I'm saying is like Suri is on the chopping block every vote they go to. I don't think Suri
Yeah.
is surviving pre. Now I'm gonna go against what you guys are saying. If Suri survives pre-merge, I am predicting that she makes it very late into the game. Genuinely.
Agree.
I don't
Because
like I like
once you remakes merge, you don't have a reason to get rid of her until the very end. And that's why
Yeah.
every single time she's gone merge, she's gone deep.
Suri will get to top 6 if she makes it to merge. And like, I don't want to say it's not because she doesn't have good games. Like, she always has good games. She's a good player, but it's also because it's her brand. She doesn't been challenged. It would be the only scenario that Suri wins the season, and it's so hilarious that I would want it to happen, is if she somehow wins Final Four because they let her get there. Just the greatest plot twist of
I mean,
all
it
time.
could also be a scenario where Suri is the second biggest threat at Final Four somehow.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
like, one of the GOATs
but
wins
that's also why
immunity.
like, I think Suri's best game plan, and this is what happens, is Suri just needs to link up with the big players that are willing to work with her, like the big comp beasts and stuff. And just, that's what Suri has to do, is work with people that are strong shields, because I don't think Suri is the biggest player on that cast because of her physical ability. That's the one thing that, but that also makes pre-merge hell. She's either a pre-merge early boot, or she makes it all the way to the end and maybe even wins. If she makes FTC, she wins. I think we're almost all in agreement. If Suri somehow made FTC, I don't see any scenario where she loses, unless it's like David or Rob, or like one of the big winners like Tony.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same
But,
fence there. Anything we want to bring up for Suri before we move on?
Mm.
All right, now it's time
Well,
for.
I guess we could talk about because you mentioned it earlier, the fact that Sarah and Suri were the two people that didn't get a confessional in the intro.
Oh yeah, that is important to bring up. So, yeah, pretty much every other 12 players got the confessionals except for those two. Now, I can kind of understand Sarah not getting it. She's obviously not. I'd say she's probably
I mean,
the.
she's
And
7 out
no
of
offense,
7 in the Australian tribe. She's the least big name player
Like-
there.
Least
no offense to
anticipated.
Sarah. Like, no offense to Sarah, I loved her in 2017, but she's definitely the smallest name on the board there. But Suri is very weird to keep out of the confessionals, and I can kind of get like, because I think according to the 10 play website, which I'm pretty sure they're basing it off of that, you can only see heroes versus villains and game changers, and obviously she's a pre-merge boot in heroes versus villains, and game changers she did good, but I don't think she was as like vocal as she was in
It's her
Micronesia.
third best season. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Suri definitely should have gotten a confessional in. I think there's a lot of talk about the fact that she didn't, is that she's probably not going to win, and or she didn't do well in the season.
I could
I
see
feel
two
like
scenarios here. One scenario is she's an early boot and they don't want to include her too much in the season. And the second scenario, which we've seen Australian Survivor do in the past, is she gets screwed by some twist or an idol, and
Yeah, I think
they
it's the second
kind of
one.
want to purple her so that people don't get too disappointed. I could see
Yeah,
that
that's-
as well.
like,
That's kind
I
of
think
what
so.
Australia does.
Yeah.
Especially in Brains versus Bronze 1, they purple a lot of the screwed over people.
A lot of people that do have like really big confessionals, I'd say some people like that have gone like really like not that far within Australian Survivor, they do have like they do have confessionals for some of those guys who don't go far as well. Like I think recently I've seen like a lot of like Nash promo, and then like Nash got like fourth boot or something like that. So there's that. So I
Yeah.
think maybe that's like a thing that might
Yeah.
might
I mean,
be like
vs.
someone got a
Braun 2 was a
cough,
weird
yeah.
season to edit anyway.
I
Yeah.
think if like someone got a
mean-
conf, they could get booted out early, like a really big conf. And I'll get more into that later when we touch on someone.
Like, for me, maybe the reason she doesn't have a confessional is to build up the mystery around her, because I feel like she is the biggest question mark on the World's Tribe, and I think they may just be leading into that because she is also on 50, and because she always gets screwed over. I think it may be a publicity play. It's actually better marketing to not give her a confessional, in my opinion. I think it's just marketing, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna move on to
I think her being on 50 is more of a shock and a mystery, and like, what the fuck happens this season that makes her want to do 50?
Yeah.
That's the question for me. It's like, how is she not retiring after this? What had to happen?
yeah, like she's 54. She's the second oldest
I mean,
player of the
It leads
season.
me to believe she's not winning, of course, but something had to happen for her to say, I gotta do this again.
I honestly think that maybe this is kind of like how I feel about it. I just think she may also just have a huge passion for it, because like she gets screwed over time and time again, but she always comes back. We may never see Suri retire. It may just be in her blood. Also, they definitely pay her so much to show up on these shows. Like, part of me like jokingly thinks like maybe she'll show up in Deal or No Deal Island season 3. At this rate we're going.
That's like one of my predictions for Dondi 3. That or Ethan.
Ethan would be such a good pick. I love Ethan.
Wait, Ethan, the season 3 winner?
Yeah, Ethan's on.
I was trying to think of who. I think I confused him with Dylan from Traitors.
Dylan.
Dylan's pretty much a lock for season 3, I think.
Oh, Dylan Efron. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Based on what I've heard.
All right.
I mean,
So
it's
for
cool.
our next player for AVW, we're gonna see the Golden God. It's David Janae from Survivor Australia
The
Champions
host.
versus Contenders 2 and Survivor Australian All-Stars, and whatever season we see after this season, because he will most likely be hosting it. So, David played an incredible game from pretty much start to finish in both of his seasons. His first season, he did the unthinkable. He traded someone in Idol for a fake Idol. So, David did an incredible move in that season. Had some crazy master manipulation plays. And then he further cemented his greatness in All Stars, where he eventually went off to win the season and gave us a couple memorable blindsides as well. So obviously David is kind of in a weird spot, because for him, he is top 2 name for Australia. He's the only winner for Australian versus the world. He's played with pretty much everyone on the tribe except for Sarah and George. And everyone knows his game. Everyone knows his game pretty vastly. So the most important thing about David's game is how is he going to maneuver throughout the pre-merge. Because for me, I think David's a player that you don't want to give too much ground to. If you give David an inch, he is going to make a mile out of it. You saw it in Champions versus Contenders 2, and then you saw it in All-Stars, and you even saw it in Deal or No Deal Island, season 2, where he went off to win the season because no one had. Everyone was going after Parvati or Dixon or Dr. Will, and David was just the guy. No one really was like, "Oh yeah, he's just the guy we'll take out right at the end there. He won't be a big deal," and then he goes off to win. So, yeah, if you
Speaking
give,
of the,
go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this is my main prediction this season. I think David may actually win, and I think it's for a reason kind of annoying, but I think will realistically happen. If Parvati makes merge, if at least two of the American players make merge, I think David may be able to get that inch from Parvati 20. Honestly, I think the Australian players will lock him down in the Australian tribe, but he can easily just go to the internationals because of Parvati, because of that previous connection. So
Yeah. So yeah, David had a very secret Final Two alliance with Parvati. Didn't work out the greatest for him. He lost Parvati at Final Four, but for me, I think David has to go pre-merge. I don't think he'd make it to the FTC if he made it to merge, but he's just gonna do so much erratic damage that the merge tribe's just gonna be irreparable even if they vote him out. So I think best case scenario is that they vote David out at pre-merge. Now, I'm just going to give my full disclosure. I think the world is going to win at least 2 pre-merge challenges, and if I had to guess who would win a third,
Possibly 3.
Yeah, I think world would win 2 or 3 immunity challenges, and I don't see David going out first tribal. There is no way David goes out first tribal because
No.
he's the biggest comper there. He's got a lot of charm, but second or third tribal, David's got to watch out. And David's pretty good at finding idols. David's got to use all the things he's learned from his first 2 seasons plus Deal or No Deal to make it to the merge. But honestly, my prediction is just I don't think David's going to make it to merge really. But how you guys feel about him?
Same. I think if Australia loses 2 or 3 tribals, I think David's going to go. I also think David. I mean, the main thing that David has to do in the first couple of episodes is not let George pick up an idol because he's going to be getting votes. I think everybody who doesn't target George will target David in the first tribal.
Yeah.
So I could see like a wild scenario where George idols out David and the most epic Survivor episode of all time. Otherwise, I think David, if he gets the Australian tribe to win 2 challenges, he's going to be good. He's going to make it to merge. And then potentially win an immunity or 2. I don't think they'll let him get to the end, though. There's no way.
yeah, I think he would have to.
Even Parvati.
Yeah.
Even Parvati is way too locked in my opinion, to let David make it to the end.
That I don't think they would let him make it to the end, but like I could see him. This is unlikely, but I could see him like making it to like final 7 and just comping his way to the end. Like if he gets close enough and just goes wild.
Yeah, unlikely for me. I don't think anybody in particular. I don't see anybody doing an immunity run this season. There's way too many physical people.
There is. Plus, the only person that's ever done like a full-fledged immunity run in Survivor Australia is in its most recent season where Kaylin won. Get this, Siren, a groundbreaking
Luke had an immunity run. Gertie had an immunity run.
Who was that?
We've seen these runs. Sorry?
7? You know Kaylin?
7.
We
7
don't know
immunity.
Kaylin, yeah.
How the do you
And he
win
lost.
7? What the?
Dude,
Did they
Cameron's like
win?
a fucking fish in the water.
Did they
I'm still
win this
blowing
season?
up. I'm
And
still
he's really good at
no.
puzzles, but he doesn't want to tell
Did it
anyone.
win?
He lost the jury vote 7-1.
What the fuck? How bad were they at the game to lose that? They
He
had
honestly
to eat
played pretty good.
No,
He was
Cameron was
pretty
pretty
good,
good.
honestly.
What the
was-
fuck?
He was
That's-
like he played
It
a
was just a
solid,
crazy
if
final
not
two.
quiet
Like,
game.
Oh, okay. That makes
The final
It's just
three
he
that
was up
Miles was
against
like
a
very
really
strategic.
loud player
yeah.
the final
I mean-
who
three
found
scat.
like 7 idols
The only
or
way I
something.
see
Is it
David,
7?
the only way I
Well,
ever
like
see David getting
4, 5, something like that.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5.
like the only way I see David ever getting close to the end is with the international winners. That is the only scenario I ever see. It's not going to be the Australian people.
Yeah.
Like,
I think. You go, and then I'll do my opinion.
yeah. David, for me, it's either David is going to have a cool early exit or he is going to stumble close to the end. I think he may win just because he's about to become host. Honestly, that is the only reason I think he has a chance of winning, because that's just fucking hilarious if he wins and becomes host. That's such a funny story. It's like whoever wins this season becomes host. Like, that's the only reason I think there's a chance that he could win. Because, like,
He wins 2 times. He's the Survivor champion of the world. He won $6.8 million. And
he has
he
nothing
gets
else
to
to do.
steal a hosting gig.
Yeah, he has nothing else to do. That's why he's
Like,
hosting. He has nothing else
Leave
to play.
something for the rest of us, you know.
It's just that's just kind of how I view it. That's the only reason I think he could win, because it's like, why is he hosting if he loses this? Because, like, he's obviously gonna play again, right? If he doesn't win this, because he's one of the best and it's fun seeing. He obviously enjoys this. Like, something has to happen to cause him to not want to play again. Is kind of my point. I don't know what that is. Maybe he gets Sareed or gets idled out by George, and it's just like, I quit. But yeah.
What did you have on David, Angie?
Okay, so I'm surprised that no one actually mentioned this. He does have like a really, 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 really good connection with Luke. And I think that's gonna be something that like takes him really far in the game. I think they're gonna be causing a lot of mischief within like the Australian tribe. I think like this duo is gonna be like a good power duo to go far. I don't know if like people are gonna like see through it. They might, but like I think it's gonna be like a really fun like comeback. I think with David, like yeah, I feel like he might make merge, but I don't think he's gonna win. Like I think it'd be fun if he like reunites with Parvati, and like just like works a social charm there. I don't think he'll get idled out by George. I feel like either he might like he might idle out someone, or he goes home with an idol again. That's probably my best bet. So.
David is the one idles out Suri. That's why she's not getting a convention.
Cerise and her
David
Survivor
goes out
50
3, then Suri does 50, and then Suri comes back for Australian Survivor in 2027 and gets hosted by David.
Serena Survivor 50. Serena Survivor 50 pregame comp fight. Yeah, the host idled me out. It was some bullshit.
That would be the funny. Please let that happen now. Wait. This is so worth it. Okay, I think we can move on.
EG, Angie, you guys got anything left you want to say for David?
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah, I think I've said what I
We'll talk
wanted to
about
say.
we'll talk about David as a host next year.
Yeah. All right, so for our next player, we got Lisa from representing the World Tribe. She's played Survivor New Zealand, Thailand, and won that season. She So I'm actually in the current stage of watching this season, but I do know pretty much the whole shebang of what goes on, and Lisa does pretty well in the season. I'd say she plays very similar to a Suri type game. Uh, she plays a pretty solid under the radar game. She does pretty good at manipulating some of the votes. She even did a very great 3-2-1 vote. The big thing that happened for her this season is that there was like a meta game duo in the season going on all the way to the final 6, and then Lisa just sniped the first duo and then made the second duo member a 0 vote finalist. So Lisa comes off as someone who
Wait,
obviously
so someone got metagamed out at the final 6?
No, so there was like a metagame duo going on. So there were two people that knew each other from like high school. And then one of them got sniped at the
What?
final 6 by a 3-2-1, which Lisa
Yeah,
spearheaded.
were they sniped because they knew each other?
Not because they knew each other, but Lisa managed to put the pieces together.
I'm trying to figure out a way to sneak an Alan joke in there.
I knew that was what you were gonna do.
One of them clearly got eliminated because they got a strike. Am I right? It was a strike. I
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you, one strike.
Of course.
Anyway,
So yeah, Lisa played a very good game. She was in pretty much the entire majority for the entire merge. So for Lisa, her whole shtick for that season was to come off as like the eager super fan who was just wanting to come for the experience, and then later just I guess the best way you could describe her game is like she's what Survivor 41 wanted Erica to be, where there was this like lamb turned lion moment for Lisa, and she went all the way to win the season. And now that she's come on for Australia versus the world, I think she's probably going to go for the same philosophy, where she's
Yeah.
just going to come off as she's planning to come off as a starstruck fan who's just excited to play with, Suri, Parvati, Tony, only to, go all the way deeper
Yeah.
and, cut them off whenever she can. I think that's going to be Lisa's big strategy going into the season. So how do you guys feel about Lisa?
Okay, I think I'll start because I've heard a lot about Lisa. I can see, like, given what you said, I can see why all my friends that have watched like New Zealand Survivor, I've seen like why everyone in like the community that like watches a lot of International Survivor is like obsessed with her. I think this is like one of like feel like with her gameplay, it's something I can get behind. Like from what I've heard, it's like if you combine Evan Superfan time like strategic mastermind type gameplay with my under the radar gameplay, it's kind of fun. I think Lisa would probably go. I think I have Lisa as my winner pick because of like how super hyped she is by like the fan community. Like I think people just like really love her strategic gameplay. It's 1:42 a.m. Yeah, given that New Zealand Survivor only has like one season before it cancelled, I don't think people are gonna know too much about her. So I think that like shtick can actually work in her favor. So yeah, I think expect like really good things from her. I'm really hyped about Lisa.
And that's fair. What do you guys feel about Lisa?
I think Lisa is in a similar position to what I mentioned with Rob as well. When talking about the pre-merge, is that in both scenarios of like easy team ups, where you have the winners teaming up or you have the internationals teaming up. In both cases, Lisa is safe. And then going into the merge between her and Rob, she's going to be like, nobody's really going to be looking at Lisa. So she has a very good opportunity to stay under the radar and go really far into the game. I could even see FTC for Lisa. Do I think she wins? I think there's going to be a bigger name in there than Lisa, who has maybe done a little bit more bold moves. I feel like second place for Lisa is very realistic for me. Because she can really sneak through. But then maybe, I don't know if she's going to have the footing to really produce that dominant move to get the jury votes.
Siren, what you got?
I mean, like, even like I immediately saw Lisa and read a little bit about her game. I was like, yeah, she's a losing finalist. That is kind of how I feel it. I think she's a good finalist, I'll say that. But like, I feel like the issue is for her, and a little bit for like the 4 international players, honestly, all 4 of them, is like, you're a smaller name, and when you're a smaller name, you have to make bigger moves. I feel like the play for her is she needs to team up with a big player and make strong moves with that player, because she'll never be the one targeted first. I think the Starstruck angle is the perfect way to play it. Is act like you're Starstruck, get into an alliance, make moves with the alliance, and then cut them off. That's the best thing for Lisa. That's how she can win. I think she could win. It's just, and this is honestly kind of how I see it, I feel the only way an international player, I feel like Lisa's win con is to not get to the end with any other winners. If Lisa gets to the end without any other winners there, I think she could win. And that's how I feel about all the winners. Is I feel Lisa playing the Starstruck angle may be called out a little bit because she is a winner. It's harder to do that. It's like, yeah, you're a fan, but like, you won. You're clearly good.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to add is the international players. I feel like they have more work to do than anybody when it comes to building a resume that the jury will look at as worthy of winning. Because this is such a huge season for the brand as well of Survivor. And all the players think about it, I think, to some extent. And they will look to anoint a winner that can really become a legend by winning, represent the season, that can represent what a huge event this was. And so if you have, like, let's say a really big name, somebody like Tony or Parvati make the end with Lisa, and they've played just as well, the jury's going to give it to Tony or Parvati.
Mm-hmm. I will say
It sucks that it has this effect, but I think it is true that they will look at it in that way.
One of my fears, and this is kind of why I hope the Australia tribe loses more challenges, is if they get a majority in the jury as an Australia. That is my biggest fear for this season. Is kind of like what happened in HVV, where the heroes are just like, screw you, and just take over FTC. I hope that doesn't happen, but that is my fear.
It's fair. So, my prediction for Lisa, so I think I'm going to pull a siren here and actually go back on my predictions. I think originally I had Lisa at 13.
You had Lisa at second last.
I had Lisa as
I had
the
her
first
at first.
world
It was like
boot.
so weird.
I think I'm going to go back on my predictions a little bit. I think I'm going to put her at second. I think I'm going to put her at second or third. I think Lisa does have that type of game to make it to FTC. I think Lisa does have that potential to, potentially win over a jury, but, she has a lot of groundwork to do. Like EG mentioned, internationals are going to have a incredibly tough time building up that resume. And I think that might be the problem for Lisa, but, with how she played New Zealand, Thailand, I do think she's going to at least do a lot of reputable damage this season. So, do we got anything else on Lisa
I
before
think we can move on. I think we can move on.
All right, cool. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Tommy. So I'm gonna talk to Siren real quick about Tommy because something funny happened to Tommy. So Siren, I need you to brace yourself, okay?
Did he lose because of an extra vote at FTC? Am I gonna punch you?
Yes. He lost a jury vote 4-3, and someone had an extra jury vote.
I would have. That happened in real life. That can
by
happen.
the way, I'm literally in an FTC right now where somebody has 2 jury votes.
Oh my
Welcome to the club,
So,
EG. I'm inviting you to the
yeah,
club.
I am fully ready. I am fully ready for this to happen.
I'm gonna be real. Tommy's my winner pick now. We stand together.
Oh my god, he's ginger just like you.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So Tommy played Survivor Finland season 7. Now, I've probably done the least amount of research on Tommy's season, but from what I understand, his season was essentially fans versus favorites, and he came on to the season as a fan. So, apparently in the season, the fans just wiped the floor with the favorites. The favorites did awful that season. So, the fans just demolished the favorites. I'm pretty sure like only one made it to Final Four. So Tommy played a pretty good game. Won a couple immunities here and there. He spearheaded probably a few votes, and he did mention that the big reason he lost FTC was the fact that maybe he was too game body here and there. So he did lose the jury vote 4-3, and the final boot had an extra jury vote. So obviously, I think Tommy is going to be a player that probably is coming off the most as wanting to prove something. Because Tommy was the closest of the non-winners here to win. He technically tied a jury vote. Almost won it. So I think Tommy has some of that disappointment of Finland 7 running off of him. I think for a guy like Tommy, I think he has enough prowess to make it to merge. I'd say if you ask me to pick the 4 people I think are most likely to make merge, I think Tommy's going to be one of them. He's pretty decent in challenges. He's got some good charisma. He obviously, I yet to be seen since I haven't seen a season, but he says he's done good at playing under the radar as giving off this I don't know the correct wording, but he's good at hiding his own strategy well. So I think for a guy like Tommy, I think he's going to make it at the very least to mid-merge. I don't know how deep he's going to go from there, but I think mid-merge is a solid prediction for him. How do you guys feel about him?
I think with Tommy, he's also a bit of a mystery to me. I think given that he doesn't he keeps his strategy secret to himself. I think he might just make least merge. Yeah, I do agree. I don't know how deep of a run he's gonna make it. I just don't have as much to say for him compared to every other player within the season.
Yeah, I think mid-merge is a good call as well. I I could see him getting purpled. Well, I think he's one of the more likely people to receive a small edit and just kind of just be there, like not have a huge impact on the season. Align with the people that are looking to make bigger plans, make it to mid-merge, and then at some point get knocked off. I don't think there's too much to say on Tommy.
Siren, what do you got on your twin brother?
Well, I mean, I feel like for me, the thing is I feel like he may team up with David maybe because he's I kind of like a pseudo winner in a sense of maybe he's allowed into the big targets club with Tony and them at the merge maybe, and I see him also getting picked off like mid merge. I hope he gets to do something. Maybe he goes out in the pre-merge in a blaze of glory trying to eliminate David out of like petty revenge, like pettiness, like I should have won, and just like charges at David the first vote. I don't know.
We're on different tribes.
Oh no,
Tony, I guess, or Parvati.
Did you mean Tony or Parvati?
yeah, Tony or Party. Like I could imagine him like trying to charge at the winners. It's not a good idea.
Or charges at ropes and then fails.
I don't think. I feel like the
I could see
international
him being the person.
the international players, one of them has to be purpled. I just don't know which one. It's gonna be one of them, and I'm calling it. If a player is getting
I could see
purpled,
him being. I could see him being the person of the internationals most likely to just suggest an international alliance, which would lean into him also wanting revenge on the winners. Because 2 of the 3 Americans are winners, the other one is the weakest in challenges. So I feel like for Tommy it would make sense to just straight up suggest an international alliance and team up against the Americans.
I feel like Lisa could do that as well, to be honest. I feel like Lisa may do that.
Lisa
And
may
that's how
actually bond with Suri. If Civ is saying that Lisa played a Suri type game, maybe they could
Oh, that's
bond.
true.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
they
just
team up.
Maybe
I think
Suri can make
Lisa. I think Lisa's even mentioned she wants to play with Suri and pre-game press. Although I might be wrong.
Tommy. They may
I
be
do
the
recall that. I think it may be true.
they could be the first boot. I won't lie, Tommy. But I hope. I feel for them. I understand their pain, but I don't think they're gonna do well. It's just the hard truth.
All right. Alright, so since we're all kind of iffy on Tommy, how about we go on to the one guy I'm pretty sure all of us believe is going to be the first boot? George Mladnov from Survivor Brain.
George-
welcome.
Okay, George just needs to look for idols 24/7 the minute he steps onto the beach.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like I would not focus on shelter, I would not focus on talking to people, I would just go and hunt for that idol the minute I'm out there.
Like, you know
When
what
I find
Tony
it, I
did
can
in
start
game,
talking to people.
like, you know what Tony did in Game Changers at the start? That, but don't
Tony
do
was
what you
not
did
as
at the
screwed as
end.
George was. Tony was not as
Yeah.
screwed as George right now. Tony had an
You know-
alliance with Sandra already.
What George needs to do is he needs to come to America, pay Ben, the winner from America, $10,000 to sneak on the camp with him and go search for idols.
He needs to practice with Miles.
It's
Yeah.
it's either that or he needs to go to people and be like, hey, he needs to go to David and be like, listen to me, we're the 2 big names, you can save me, right? Right?
And David's gonna be like, no,
No, fuck
I
it.
They're
can't.
gonna be, you know,
Yeah, you're
he's
out of
gonna
here.
look at him, they're just gonna be like, long live the king, and walk off.
Yeah.
Very close
If
door.
George is not the first boot, it is because he either found an idol or Australia did not lose the first challenge.
Yeah.
2x
Yeah.
Winnie.
I think with George, he's a bit.
Imagine Australia wins all challenges and George makes a merge and teams up with everybody from World.
Mm,
I
What do you have,
why,
it's
Angie?
very much like Brains versus Brawn.
What
why
did you
do I
have,
feel like
Angie?
it would be so funny
Okay.
if George makes
Okay.
it to the merge and he's just like, I did it, and then immediately gets eliminated? I survived the. I survived 9-1 vote. George.
What did you have on George, Angie?
Hi. So, with George, I think he's probably like the most well-known name out there. Like, he has a book. He's been on like The Amazing Race as well. So, I think, and he's been on like, was it Dogs Behaving Very Badly? Like, he's been on a lot of Channel 10 shows in Australia. I also think like he's a bit of a menace. Like, he's very much painted in a negative light to like some people, like a lot of like people he's rubbed the wrong way in like his past 2 seasons, like within his tribe. But the thing with George is like I think he can like try and like find like he did with like the Spice Girls. And then that like takes him far. I don't know if he can do it here because I think there's just like a lot of big names. I don't know if like many people are gonna like bond and gel with George either. I can't really take George seriously either because like given all the promos about his dad bod, I'm like I feel like I'm not seeing I don't know if it's like a smoke screen or if I'm like or if this is it. Like not
And
taking George as seriously as much as I
in his,
usually am
in his
My
promos,
ass
he had
has
a
doubled in
fucking.
in
size.
size.
No, you know what's funny about that is like in the promos, he pretty much pulls a crown out of his ass right after he says that.
I think
And the
he's gonna
face he
have
makes
to
afterwards.
get that.
I'm
He's
not
gonna have
excited to see him
to take out that crown after like day 2, most
yeah.
likely.
Yeah, I'm not excited to see him in Budgie Smugglers. It's
Also, I do think it's worth mentioning, since the promos did mention it a lot, is that we don't know much about the World Tribe in terms of tribe disparity, but it does seem like there is at least one live tribal going on for the Aussies, where George and David have a little one-on-one during tribal council. Now, whether that is a smokescreen type edit like they try to do, or it's actually them trying to work together, I don't know. Now,
I
I
would
do
not
think
be paying too much attention to that.
I did
I,
see that, and I did mention it in
It
when
could
we
be
talked about
anything.
it.
I do think it is worth mentioning that George is kind of similar to a Dr. Will type character. So
Mm,
I doubt David's gonna work with George really. David doesn't really have much reason to work with George. He's close with a lot other people, and if he just works with George, he may pay the price for it because I mean, I don't think this is a big reason for it, but I do think that. Oh, did Siren leave? All right, bye, Siren. I do think part of the reason George does make it to the end. Not, I don't think this is like one of the main reasons, but I do think George isn't good at comps. Like he's not good at challenges.
yeah. Nah.
Like I'm sure at
There's
least some.
legitimately no reason to keep him. No reason for anyone.
Mm,
So I think David has no reason to work with George pre-merge. So I think George is probably first boot on Aussie. He just does
yeah.
not have any. Shawnee wants revenge on him. David's a lot closer with other people. I know Kirby wants to target David, and Janine's kind of worried about David. But I don't see George winning that war unless George finds an idol.
Yeah. I just can't really see
Yeah.
him like meshing really
And
well with like his
well,
dad.
if George finds an idol, he's still getting voted out. Like for George to make the merge, he has to find 2 idols or 3 idols. I don't know. Some extraordinary things would have to happen for George
is
to make
not
the
making
merge.
No.
I'd say
The only reason
Owen-
why I'm not saying 100% is because everybody was saying the same in Heroes versus Villains. Everybody going into that season is like, George is last on the power rankings, George is not making merge, and then he goes and makes it to the finale. But it's not going to happen again, is it?
You never know.
No.
I mean, I know, but
Yeah, that's true. Fuck. All right. So, you got anything else you
Who's the
want to
next one?
talk about for George? All right.
Yeah, next
Uh,
one would
It's
be
just funny that
poverty, right?
he gained weight,
Yeah.
and he may not get to lose it.
Dude,
He gained weight.
I thought he got fitter in Heroes versus Villains, didn't he?
He did.
And he was like talking about like how he exercised and stuff and all that.
Yeah,
And
he,
now
he
he's
had
getting
those
fatter.
muscle confessionals.
He had a fall off, unfortunately.
Mm. George Clooney.
All of the crown went to
I'm
his head.
coming
big
in
time.
hot with that bod.
That's like the second most overused confessional in this promo, and
Really is.
and I'll get to the first one next because we're
Yeah,
talking about
I know what you're
Parvati
talking about.
Shallow and her fucking sweet little baby Aussie confessional that gets on my gears so hard, man. So Parvati is a player that needs no introduction. She developed one of the most well-known alliances in all of reality TV. She's won once. Debatably, she should have won twice. That's a point of contention for later if we want to get into it. But obviously, I think Parvati played very. Parvati is a player that is almost always going to make merge. The only time she
Yeah.
didn't make merge in Winners at War was because she was swap screwed. If she actually had a favorable swap, she makes merge 100%.
Yeah, I think it was a pre-game alliance as well on her tribe.
Yeah, that too. So, I'd say for Parvati, if you told me to predict which USer would do the best, it's Parvati 100%.
Mm.
I think
Based on the promos as well.
Yeah, Parvati's got a lot of favorable promos. He's done pretty well in other Survivor seasons. She's pretty good at comps too. She's not great at tribal challenges, but she's very good at individual challenges. She's won
Yeah.
quite a few merge challenges, especially in Heroes versus Villains. I think for Parvati, she's a player that's, I think, going to make it deep. I'd say guaranteed top 5 or top 6 is my prediction for her. The only way I could see them maybe taking her out is merge is first merge vote chaos maybe takes her out and she gets caught in the crosshairs. But other than that, I don't see Parvati getting too much damage on her.
A really niche prediction I have this season for Parvati is around Final 8 and 7, they're going to have the individual immunity challenge where you have to hold on to a pole as long as you can. And they're going to show this flashback of Parvati in Heroes versus Villains. And then she's going to win it again. It's a very off-wall prediction, but I think it's going to happen.
I feel like we could have mentioned it with Suri, but I think she does have a connection with Suri being in the Black Widow Brigade. I think Poverty is like a really big social name. I don't know if she's gonna assemble like the women or like the winners or whatnot, like for her alliances. So I'm keen to see her with David again. I wouldn't mind her seeing her with Johnny. I think a lot of people might be keen on seeing that as well. Another thing with like poverty and challenges is her Dondi run, like how she's won like what 9 challenges in a row until the
Yeah.
last one. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna go on that like big challenge run again, but I think she's gonna have like a few immunity wins behind her. I've predicted her as top 6 when she goes out as well. Seems
Yeah, I
reasonable.
think late boot is a good call. I think she's got a good win condition as well. I would not be shocked. I think late boot is a good prediction.
Yeah, I think the thing for Parvati is that obviously she has a lot of appeal for a lot of players. She's a winner. She's developed the Black Widow Brigade. And unlike, other players who also have a big name, she's not as erratic as, other players like Tony or David or George.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm,
She's
Parvati,
consistent.
yeah, she's consistent. She's if you're with Parvati, she'll keep you around and she's not gonna bite you. I think that's a big thing that will get her far. Obviously, I don't think I think people will figure it out eventually where they will start targeting Parvati, but I don't think she'll be on the block for a while. There's a lot of people that are worse than competitions than her. There's a lot of other people who are more erratic, more unpredictable than
Yeah.
her.
And
So
less connected.
and less
Yeah.
connected. So
Absolutely.
I think it's safe to say Parvati will make it pretty far.
yeah.
All right. So next player we got Sarah from Survivor 2017, the biggest drought in gameplay of any player. Sarah's last game was in 2017, where she got 8th place.
8th place, yes.
Yeah, I
8th
think.
place.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, yes, Sarah is a small name in the grand scheme of Australia, but I think a lot of people have been clamoring to see her back for a while. Sarah's a big name who did a lot of crazy stuff during 2017. She was part of some of the wildest tribal councils that happened that season, including getting the the honor of being a part of one of the stupidest tribals of all time, a 3-2
The 3-2
vote, where she somehow was on the right side of a 3-2 vote. Oh,
only to lose the
Sarah-
next episode.
and proceeds to get sniped next.
Yeah.
Sarah is someone that I think is also making merge. I think she's pretty good at competitions.
I mean, why not?
She's pretty connected with other people. Like her and Luke were pretty much best friends on 2017, except for that like one episode at the swap. So they're pretty close. I want to say her and David are pretty close on social media. I think Sarah's got a lot of room to make it.
I think Sarah recommended Survive to David.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, they're both models too.
Yeah,
They're pretty close
Sarah,
friends. And the fact that David and Luke are so close, and then Sarah and Luke were so close, and then like that's a very easy trio
Oh yeah.
right off the bat.
How do you guys think Sarah's gonna do?
I don't know if Sarah. I don't know how Sarah's gonna do because I feel like I remember her game release because like the last time I watched 2017 was like June last year, and then I feel like just with like I feel like Sarah's vote like Brute was like less memorable compared to like all the people who were like eliminated either before or after her. Like Annalise was memorable, Henry was memorable, Tessa was memorable, Luke was memorable. So like Sarah was just like kind of like I remember her being like a really great player, but like it just felt like very like middle of a road, like with her vote out. I don't know. So I think for me, I think maybe like late pre-merge, early merge is probably my prediction with Sarah. I do agree that like she does have those connections with David, like model connections, and then Luke, obviously from 2017, like a Sangha strong. I don't know if she's gonna like hold like like be super like grudgy against Luke, like given that like she was a little with like Jericho, and she voted Tara in the
Crazy
FTC.
take,
So
by the way.
yeah, so yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go with Sarah, and she doesn't have that much like content behind her. So
That too. Yeah.
yeah, it's very wild for me. I think she's a bit of a wild card.
What do you got on your EG?
I think Sarah will be early merge. I agree with Angie on that.
Yeah.
I think she gets like max 5 confessionals throughout the season. Probably like I could even see her getting 0 in her boot episode, and it just focuses on all the other
Wow.
bigger names on the board. It's gonna be an unfortunate look for Sarah. I don't have an issue with her. I just think she's come back for the wrong season. Like I'm
Yeah.
seeing all these rumors about 2026 season. I've seen, for example, it's very, very likely that Brooke is coming back for that. And I would just swap them around. I would have Brooke this season and Sarah next season.
Oh, if
I think
Brooke
that will
and
be.
David are on Australian Tribe together,
That
the world is
would
coding,
be
dude.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Brooke would be more suited to a season like this, and then
No,
Sarah
I
would
She
be more
agree.
would
suited
though.
to a season like
She would.
Revenge and Redemption.
Yeah, Brooke
Mm.
fits. I think Brooke's a good fit for AVW. By the way, Sarah, if you are watching this, my DMs are open at
Oh
Civilian
my
Ink. Hit me up.
Well, your
god.
DMs are open. Are her DMs open? You'd have to
I
be the
know.
one to send. You'd have to be the
I
one.
thought Sarah has a partner.
You gotta
never
make the
mind.
move.
Oh god, that's so awkward.
No,
You have to figure that
Riri's
out now.
Riri's the one.
Moving on.
Speaking of people close to Sarah, now we have Luke Toki from Survivor Australia 2017 and Champions vs. Contenders 2. It's been a while since we've seen Luke play, but Luke was one of the most iconic players of the early Australian Survivor days. Gave us some of the funnest confessionals ever. Just a very energetic player that, is kind of like a more under the radar Tony and how he plays. Like he kind of does like the Spy Shack stuff. He's, as he calls it, creeping all over the place. But nobody seems to really call him out on it. And so Luke usually gets away with whatever he does. So I think for Luke, I'm very excited to see him play. Obviously, with other big names on the board, Luke has a ton of wiggle room to, creep in, as he calls it, in the Aussie tribe. So I think for Luke, the big thing is going to be obviously his connections with David and Sarah. Those are pretty big connections. And then also, I don't think he's necessarily going to be a target for anyone. I think for players like David and George are going to be the two big targets, and I think obviously Janine's going to be up there as like a distant, lack of competition skill. So I'd say Luke is going to make it to merge. Now, what is important about Luke is that what's going to be important is how people adapt to merge, because if everyone else is still like in like stasis mode, Luca's just going to sweep. Because Luke is that guy. Luke's a guy who never sleeps. He's always going to find something to screw around with. Like Final 5 for CVC2, we saw him find an advantage, and then that advantage revolved around him basically making Final 5 into his own personal fan fiction and making it canonical. So yeah, how do you guys think Luke's gonna do?
For me, I think Luke's gonna go really, really, really far. For some reason, I predicted him in second. I just like went down the list and then I got big down to Luke and Lisa. And I was like, fuck it, Luke second. I think, yeah, I think like he's like a really fun, energetic player, like you said. He's gonna like really team up with David and potentially Sarah. I think that all depends. I don't think he's going to be as big of a target as David to Janine, even though like Luke kind of was responsible for her blindside. I also think something that we haven't mentioned is like Luke's like story. I know like he's a very passionate guy, but like I think Luke has like a really like good story in Champions versus Contenders too. So I'm like really keen to see more of like that story, like what about like been going on in his life and everything in Australia versus the world.
Who you got, EG?
Luke, for me, has a really good opportunity to win this season. It's pretty much a perfect season designed for him. With all the connections he has, with all the bigger names on the board, he's kind of in that Jeremy Cambodia situation where he's a really strong player. He's well-rounded. He's good at social strategy, physical. But then there's a couple other people who are better than him at social strategy or physical. He's not going to stand out until the moment he needs to. So I think this could be a great season for Luke.
Yeah,
He's
pretty
right
much.
in that middle section at everything.
Yeah, that's where I see Luke too. And I think for Luke, since he hasn't played in 8 years, 7 years, there's going to be a lot of focus on, nobody's going to see Luke as
Yeah. Last time Luke played, George was still a politician.
yeah. So I think Luke's going to do really
COVID
well.
didn't exist the last time we saw Luke play Survivor.
Sonny was known as that skateboarder when last time we saw Luke.
Yeah. And obviously, we're excited to see some Luke confessionals.
Absolutely.
I'd say out of everyone, I'd say Luke does my favorite type of confessionals in Australian Survivor. So I'm excited to see him back. I think he's going to do really well. So, we got anything else on Luke before we move on to our last player?
No.
Let's get to Tony.
So last but certainly not least is Tony Vlachos, a 2-time winner of Survivor Cagayan and Survivor Winners at War. Tony is a player that obviously is going to be the biggest player on the board. He's a 2-time player. No one else ever, like, if you've watched even a bit of US Survivor, you know about Tony.
Yeah.
Tony is the Survivor player. So I think for a guy like Tony,
until now.
Yeah.
Because I think this season is going to settle a lot of GOAT debates.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because obviously Tony is considered the GOAT to many people, but not everyone. There is some debates for other people, and I think there are some other players that could reach that potential status. I think for Tony, the most important thing is going to be challenges. he has to do good in challenges. And Tony
Yeah.
usually does good in challenges. He's a pretty good tribal challenge guy. And then he wasn't good at individual challenges in Kagayan, but in Winners at War he did pretty good. Now, I don't think Tony's going to win immunity challenge in that merge just because the Australian
No,
immunity
it's
challenges are
these people are stacked.
like, you have people like Rob and David and Shawnee and Kirby. Like, I don't see Tony winning an individual
Parvati.
immunity.
Mhm.
Parvati. I think Tony is prime first emerge boot.
Yeah.
I do see him.
Could be.
I do see him surviving throughout the pre-merge, just barely. I think he will always be. I think he'll always receive.
He's
votes
gonna
at
get
pre-merge.
votes at every single tribal, I think.
Yeah, I think every tribal he attends, he's going to get at least 1, maybe 2 votes. But I think the big thing about Tony is that he can't do the silent strategy anymore. Like, he already did that in Winners at War. Everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about this chillax Tony who's just waiting for the time to strike. So pretty much, Tony kind of has to do the same thing George did, or George should do in AVW, but maybe in a more covert extent, because I do
Yeah.
think Tony has a bit more wiggle room than George. He's going to be more useful at challenges, and I think he is more likely to, play a more loyal type game. I could see Tony playing more of his Kagayan erratic self, but I actually do see him doing like a more of a quiet game. Sorry, guys, feel.
I think what Tony has to do is suggest the winners team up. That's an easy way for him to get through these first couple of votes. Get Rob, get Lisa, get Parvati. Tony and Parvati have to work together. I think that they both
Yeah.
get a lot of benefit out of it. Another thing about Tony is Parvati and Suri traditionally not very good at finding idols. Like, Parvati would get given idols by Russell. Suri has never found an idol. So I don't know how the international players are at finding idols either. Maybe you can fill us in on that.
So,
Mm.
Rob, I'm pretty sure Rob was given an idol, but I know Cass has found an idol. Cass found an idol in her season. I don't think Tommy found one, and I don't think Lisa found one. But so Cass might be a player to look out for.
Certainly,
for idols.
Tony has the best opportunity to find an idol. If I had to bet on somebody from World to find an idol, it would be Tony.
Yeah.
So that can also get him through to merge. And then, I mean, he can dodge as much as he can. Like, everybody's going to be coming after him until he gets voted off. It's just about getting through as much as possible, wreaking as much havoc as possible, and protecting his legacy. That's what the season is about for Tony. Staying the GOAT.
Yeah.
Which, if he goes out early and then somebody who's already won wins again, there's going to be a lot of conversations to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree there. Angie, what do
I
you have
think,
on?
yeah. So I was gonna also say something about the idol hunting. I think that's like the first thing he's really got to do. Is just like really just go ham and just idle hunt, do what he does best. I've enjoyed seeing him do it in Cagayan. I think he's like the biggest target in the world tribe, so I can see him getting like votes in nearly every tribal he goes to. I do think he might be like an early merge, maybe first merge boot, like either him or Sarah. Yeah, I don't see him going super far because of like how big of a name he is. So that's kind of my take on Tony.
Yeah, that's pretty my take as well. So yeah, so we're at the end of the cast list now, so we're probably going to be doing weekly podcasts about the episodes we see. It's going to be a pretty short series. Obviously, there's only going to be 3 weeks of episodes, but I expect a lot to go on in each week. So, yep, first episode is in less than 24 hours, so we're going to see how correct we are on who is the first merge boot, or first boot, pre-merge boot. I'm sorry. Alright. Anything else we want to go over before we close out today?
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button. Check out my links as well. Links to the Survivor Discord server, as well as some of the what I have up on Kindle and
them.
Amazon. Oh yeah, both of them. We have two
Both of
servers
them.
now. We have 2 servers now for Survivor 20. So be sure to check that out in the description below, and we'll see you guys next time.